What you need in the building again? Uh, much love to each and every one of you guys, and God's blessing to you today. No matter how your day has started, remember, put it in God's hands. Thank God for life and strength, and get to going, get to stepping. We're gonna talk some boxing. In this case, I'm using the YouTube streaming service here. I don't know if YouTube can actually cross streams or paths, but if you guys don't see this live, it's not a problem. First of all, at the end of this stream, you can always donate via PayPal to my channel. And the other thing I want to say is, if you guys want me to chop it up in a live chat with some of you guys where you're guests, you can always make that request in the comment section. All right, let's get to it. So we're talking about, first of all, Jared Anderson versus Charles Martin. First thing I want to say is, I don't really like the format that ESPN is using for commentating. That is to say, somebody picks a side of the A-side boxer, and then somebody picks the B-side boxer to comment on. In this case, Andre Ward was basically picking the side of Jared Anderson, and Timothy Bradley was more picking the side of Charles Martin. I didn't like it. It was annoying. And I really would like ESPN to change their format, because one guy, he's like kissing one fighter's balls, and the other guy, he is, we know you guys are trying to push the A side. We know Jared Anderson is going up a level. He's facing now somebody on the tier of a former world champion. We understand all of that. So don't placate the issue of Jared Anderson and just be pushing and have this narrative where you're kind of favoring him all the time. It really is kind of annoying. I mean, he is your guy. We know ESPN, is pushing top ranks fighters, but still at the same time, I would like you to have a much more balanced way of looking at fights. Talk like you're an enthusiast. Don't talk like you're siding with one fighter or the other. And even though you're having a critical eye, don't belittle what another fighter is doing and their game plan. And I get this feeling that the narrative is always against the B side and what the B side is doing, and that they minimalize the B side's game plan and accomplishments. There's a way to criticize somebody but not belabor the point with every punch. And sometimes Andre Ward would just talk through when Charles Martin is being very effective with his jab and also very effective with his left hand and landing punches to the body and so on. And sometimes Timothy Bradley would comment on it, sometimes he wouldn't. I don't like that. I don't like biased reporting. If you're going to keep it balanced. And be an enthusiast. Be an enthusiast for the sport. Not for a fighter. Not for your brand. Not for marketing purposes. Just be straight down the middle. There's certain fighters who call fights reasonably well. But sometimes I just can't take the biasness. So I'm going to again use some language that is not necessarily language that children should hear. So if you got kids watching this video, or if you got some kids that want to watch this video, I'm going to say right now, I'm about to use some expletives to get the point across. All right? I'm not really an expletives person, and I shouldn't really be using expletives, but I'm going to use the expletives to get my point across. So when Andre Ward kept on rambling on and on and on about how deficient Charles Martin is, why is he boxing off the back foot, why doesn't he stand and trade, and blah, 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 in the middle of Charles Martin landing straight lefts and his signature left hand and some right hands to the body. He started to the body of course, the younger Jared Anderson, because the veteran, as Timothy Bradley so correctly said, was looking to draw Jared Anderson into deep waters and see how he'd react. And he would steal punches. Okay, he would steal punches to be drawing, sapping energy from the younger fighter, because the younger fighter, of course, would be fast, sharp, quick, And of course, he wouldn't be able to handle that speed. And so, and while he was doing that, and while he was implementing his game plan, Andre Ward's talking over him, talking about how deficient he is and how great Jared Anderson is, and taking away from what the veteran is doing in that ring. And it really is annoying to me. Okay? They make it sound like, Charles Martin, he's now letting his hands go in round 5 and round 6, when he's letting his hands go all the time. But he's cautious. He's careful. He's dealing with the other guy's speed and power. So he's going to obviously not just throw punches like that. And he's not going to try to have a range where the young guy could just go to town on him. So he's going to keep range, and he's trying to keep distance. And he was doing it simply by popping his jab and keeping the younger fighter at bay, because they're jostling. The battle of the jabs means what? It means that you're far enough away from your opponent. You see? So when they're battling the battle of the jabs there, Charles Martin is very far away from Jared Anderson. And he's not letting Jared Anderson set. Jared Anderson's obviously trying to get his jab in so he can find where Charles Martin is. But Charles Martin's not staying put. Why would he stay put in front of a young, strong buck like that? Stupid, Andre Ward. Stupid. Stupid advice. You wait for him you wear him down a bit, and then you start standing in front of him, which is what Charles Martin started to do. When he realized, I'm getting to this kid's body, I'm slowing him down, now I'm going to stand in front of him. All right? So that's just fundamental boxing 101. And when you're so biased, and when you're preaching a biased narrative, you're going to try to find fault with the opponent, like the opponent's your enemy or something. I don't get it. There's no appreciation for boxing, and I had to stress this point, that once again, ESPN's commentary team is failing when it comes to the sport of boxing. Okay? They like to favor their favorites, and they pick a side, and they'll create a narrative. And I don't like that. Okay? Because you set up the A side to fail. Because Jared Anderson's effort was exceptionally good, because this is a young guy. He never faced this kind of competition before. He's stepping up in his game. All right? You have to give credit to Charles Martin. He's a crafty, skilled veteran of the sport. That's how he got his shots in. He threaded in that left hand because he worked the body enough. Now he started switching up to the head. He took a couple of shots from the young buck, but he weathered the storm. He understood what he had to do. But you guys make it sound like he didn't know what he was doing. When you're a veteran of the sport, you don't have all this energy to throw a whole bunch of punches. Charles Martin never throws a whole bunch of punches. So I never understood it. He made his punches count. He did the best he could. He knew he wasn't going to win on the scorecards. He had to get the kid out of there. So that's the first point. I really, I'm just a fan of the sport. Yeah, I do a little bit of it. I box a little bit, but I'm a fan of the sport. I just don't get why these commentary teams and ESPN and so on think it's in their best interest to try and talk and give advice to the kid too. They were trying to give advice to the kid how to knock out Charles Martin, because I guess they wanted to get the knockout in his home turf or whatever. What's wrong with these commentators, man? Stop trying to pick sides and just comment on the fight and say what the both fighters are doing. Just do that. God damn it. Timothy Bradley said that Jared Anderson was pulling back. His snapback on a pivot wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but it does. That's kind of what Muhammad Ali used to do. But it does sometimes make sense to mix it up. Sometimes put your two guard up and block the punch instead of keeping your hands down and snapping back. Because like Timothy Bradley said, you get predictable, and then the guy's honing in on his target. He's going to get you eventually. So Timothy Bradley was 100% correct there. But what I didn't understand is Andre Ward was trying to trivialize what Charles Martin was doing. When Timothy Bradley got it, Charles Martin slowed down the kid enough to be able to catch him with those shots. And the kid was in all kinds of trouble in round 5, round 6, the end of round 8, Ray Martin caught up to him. And right at the end of the fight, Ray Martin caught up to him again. All right? Martin just didn't have enough time. But this is a great learning experience for Jared. That at this level, you're not just going to get a guy out of there. And it's not about him hurrying the thing. The problem with him was his defense, obviously. That sometimes you keep on doing the same defensive thing over and over. Martin was able to go over your jab and catch you with the lead right hand. What the kid has to understand is just because a guy is not throwing a whole bunch of punches doesn't mean he's not assessing and sizing you up, which is what Martin was doing. He knew he didn't have the energy to go toe-to-toe with that kid. He had his opportunity in round 5. He had his opportunity in round 10. Hoyle and Nar is the same thing. You're going to spend the gas in your tank. Lomachenko, the same thing. They know they can't go all 12 rounds with these young bucks. So Loma started his flurries closer to the end of the round, just like Charles Martin. And same thing with, who's the other person I said? I can't remember. Right? In other words, these veterans, they don't have the energy these young bucks have. They have the experience and they have this. They expect the young bucks to keep going and going and going. Lomachenko in the clinch. He was roughing up Devin Haney in the clinch. Devin Haney sometimes would rough him up, but Devin Haney burned a lot of energy in the clinch. Loma did all kinds of little tricks. And Devin Haney would do best to figure out those tricks for the next time. You know? And Jared Anderson, he could learn a thing or two from Charles Martin. You know? How to pounce on your opponent. Pick the right spot. Pick the right time. Wear your opponent down. Don't just be flashy walking him down. Putting pressure on. Use some feints. You don't have to throw everything. You don't have to waste energy. You can be economical. You need to be, later on in boxing, later on in fights, you need to be economical. Not to throw everything. Okay. What else did I see in this fight that not necessarily a commentary team picked up? And I want to congratulate the young Jared Anderson. Jared Anderson is only 23 years of age. He's doing very well. Okay? He learned a lot in this fight. Charles Martin was just the right age. It was just the right time. Properly motivated. Had a good game plan. You need to be able to be exposed to that. A guy who's coming to win. A guy who's coming to take your head off. A guy who has a lot of experience at the higher levels. So he was tested. This is like his version of life and death battle, because even though he dominated most of the fight, that's Anderson, there were some hairy moments in there, and that's what you want. See if the kid could pass the test. And he did. He faltered a little bit in the end, faltered in the middle because he was obviously being broken down. Fought back. He has fight in him. He shows can come back from a bad round or two and press. Now he just has to work on certain things and add certain things to his game that the veteran did to him. So they study the veteran. Go back to the drawing board. He also had the pressure of fighting at home, you know, having to deal with tickets and all that other pressure that's added on you. So, and he wanted to impress, of course, but you got to look at every fight like the same fight. It's an opponent, it's another day. The more relaxed you are, the better you will be in discerning and figuring out what's happening. So this experience is a blessing for him because now he's fought at home. He knows what the pressures are there, and he needs to stay focused on what he needs to do. The next time, have other people handle those things. Go out there, fight his fight, you know, and stay relaxed and just fight your fight. He did well. Not everybody can fight at home, man. He did okay. There was a little problems in the 5th and 6th. At the end of the 8th, and the 10th, but he's legit. He didn't steam over Charles Martin, so that means he's round about that level, you know, but he has to continue to work on his game if he's going to try and face some of the higher echelon boxers. But that's to be expected. This was a last-minute replacement. Quality opponent. He did well given those circumstances. All right. Now we're going to talk about Canelo versus Charlo. Not Jamal, but Charlo. So, Dante's Boxing Nation, shout out to Dante's Boxing Nation, said that Clarissa Shields, I think it's on Twitter or wherever, she feels a bit nervous about the matchup. You know, Jamal coming all the way down from 154 all the way up to 168 to fight Canelo. And of course, a lot of people are going to say, well, Canelo's trying to take advantage of a smaller guy. Adari Pennant says Jarrett Anderson is going to become the next future heavyweight champion of the world. Very possible. We'll see. You know, he's still got a ways to go, but he's on his way. It's on his way. It's not how you start the race, it's how you finish it. So we'll see. He was complaining about the pressure on him, but that's how life is. You're gonna have pressure on you. You just have to conduct yourself and carry out your race. The only thing you can do is your best. And he did that. He just has to keep on training, working on your conditioning and stuff like that, because, you know, maybe he's got the wrong impression about how he began, but he's a long ways off from where he needs to be. So, it's a long journey, you know, to becoming world champion. So, just take it one step at a time. Trust the process. Keep on refining and honing your skills. You'll get there. You know? Don't rush nothing. You'll get there. He's doing good. He's doing good. Yeah, Canelo versus Charlo. So, she's concerned, I guess, for Charlo. But, to be honest, that's a pretty dangerous fight, because Charlo is may not have fought at 168, but he'll be ready for that. He'll be ready for 168. That's one thing about Charlo and the camp. They're going to be ready. They work hard. So they will be ready for a fight like that. You know? I'm going to say this. Even though Charlo campaigns at 154, I said it yesterday, he's a guy who's quite big. He shrinks down to 154. Right? So, Canelo used to fight at his weight class. He was supposed to get a fight with Canelo when Canelo was with Golden Boy. So, I mean, unlike his brother, he's jumping at that opportunity. And it's undisputed versus undisputed, they call it. And that's good. You know? Canelo is picking a harder fight between the two Charlos. Mel's a harder fight than Mal, I think. Because of Mal's nature. Mal's more chill. Mel will not have any stone unturned. Mel will go hard in the paint. Okay? Mel trains like a beast. Mel is a gym rat. I'm not saying Mal's not a gym rat, but Mal is more chill. Mel's not chill at all. So I think Canelo picked the more aggressive of the two Charlos. The mentality of Mel is different to Mal. And I think because of that, Mel could be too much, could be a lot to handle for Canelo to handle. As much as Canelo has been at 168 for a while, and he's probably strong as hell, Mel might take that fight. Like I said before, I think Mel can easily take that fight. What I mean by take that fight, I mean he can get the W. For it's two key reasons why he would get the W. And he always wanted to have a fight with Canelo, so why not? Now, what are the repercussions of that? The repercussions of that are this. If Mel takes the Canelo fight and wins, he becomes the undisputed 168 champion, in addition to being the undisputed 154 champion, because he's not leaving that belt alone. Mel will now be in a position where he's in much higher demand. He's a cash cow. He's a pound for pound number one. All of a sudden, Errol Spence and those guys are not pound for pound number one, unless Terrence Crawford wins it, probably. It put Mel in a tremendous position. The question will be whether Mel will go back down to 154, because Terrence Crawford might want to face Mel after that if he wins against Errol Spence. But if Mel is at 168, he may not be able to face Mel, or he may just jump all the way up to 168 and fight Mel. Who knows? You know? So it's interesting because Costa Zoo was supposed to get a fight with Mel, and Bud wanted to face Mel if he beat Errol Spence after he beat Errol Spence after he beat Mel. So Mel was in demand at 154 with some names, but the ultimate name, the ultimate cash cow in boxing right now, Canelo Alvarez. You don't turn down a fight with that. You don't turn down that fight. Not if you're ready, and you know that could be easy money. So I can't fault Mel for what he did. You know what I mean? Mel has the skills to beat Canelo. He has the tools to beat Canelo. So obviously, he's gonna jump at that. Mal wasn't serious. Mal be talking, but Mal too laid back. Mel's of a different nature than Mal. If Mel beat Canelo, I think Mel will be pound for pound number one. He'll be pound for pound number one over Spence and Crawford. And Crawford beat Spence. He'd be two divisional world champion. So he'd be pound for pound number one for at least until Charlo beat Canelo. Let's say Charlo beat Canelo. Now Charlo be pound for pound number one because Charlo would have beaten a former pound for pound number one fighter and the cash cow boxer at a weight class, 2 weight classes above what he campaigned at. So that would be huge. Definitely pound for pound. So this is one fight I would love to see. It's very intriguing. Probably make more money than Errol Spence versus Crawford. Because that's a big fight. Period. All right. That's all what you need got for you guys. Once again, can donate to the channel via PayPal. The link will be in the comment section after this video is over. So I'll catch you guys later. Peace. What you need's out.